Hey guys, it's Annette. So this video is going to be a little different. The last video was pretty heavy and we've been having a lot of weird stuff happen since I recorded around the house energetically, and I'm at a really heavy scene in the book I'm writing, and I just finished Sunrise on the Reaping, so I just need something light and fun, and I do what I want. So we're going to cover the Mandela Effect, experiences I've had with it and theories I have, just because it's kind of fun. So if you don't know, the Mandela Effect was coined, I want to say 2010, when Nelson Mandela was released from prison, and everyone, there was split. People either knew he was in prison or they thought he had passed away way back in the 90s. So that's kind of where the Mandela Effect, it's where a group of people, a large group of people, have a different memory than what others have of it. Some common Mandela effects are Pikachu's tail, the little black tip that was never there, or the cornucopia on Fruit of the Loom. Whether or not Curious George had a tail, the spelling on Looney Tunes, the spelling on Fruit Loops. A lot of spelling ones are out there. But so, I guess I'll start with my experiences first. So first off, the Fruit of the Loom, the cornucopia. Yeah, I saw that growing up. I remember my dad's red shirt having the cornucopia, and my husband, who only wears Fruit of the Loom, says there was a cornucopia. But if you ask Fruit of the Loom, they're like, no, our product has never had that. And then the dark edge of Pikachu's tail. That, I know that was there because my little brother had, it was back in 98, he wanted to be Pikachu, but they only had the mask. So my mom had to make him the costume, and she made the tail. And I remember her putting, the black velvet at the end of the tip. The creepiest Mandela effect I've had was with the Berenstain Bears. Because, it could have gone either way. I couldn't remember. But I had one in the book, and it said Berenstain, whichever way you say it. I'm not really... I think it can go both ways. But I was like, oh, I have one of the books. So I set it on the cabinet to show my husband. And I went, and when I went to grab it to go show him, it was Berenstain with the A instead of the E. So it changed within that time. So that's the creepiest Mandela effect. The funniest Mandela effect is I asked my husband to get me a bottle of Fiji water when he went into the gas station. It's my favorite bottled water. Don't judge. And he's like, you mean Fuji? I was like, Fiji. I was like, there's no Fuji water. And he goes into the gas station and he just comes back out and he has this look. He's like, this was always Fuji water. I was like, no, it's always been Fiji water. He's like, no, I remember it was Fuji water. And even my little brother, he was like, yeah, it was Fuji. I remember. And I was like, you guys are confused. Anyway, so those are my experiences with it. So now I'm going to go into some theories. Because with my husband, immediately after, he's like, maybe I'm from a different timeline. So this is a different timeline theory. And it's based off of Jet Li's The One. If you've ever seen the movie, there's all these different dimensions, and you're present in each one, and he goes and takes out different dimensions. One of his dimensions takes out different dimensions, so that way he gains their power. All their essence comes into him. So what did I call this? The timeline merger or something? I should really write this down. But essentially, he was thinking that for some reason his timeline collapsed and he had to be merged into the body he is now. And his essence was remembering Fuji from his dimension. Which I mean, really, any of these theories, they're theories. Or until we prove them wrong. So, the timeline merging theory is one. Another one that kind of goes with that is CERN. We started seeing a lot of the Mandela Effect after the Hadron Collider started being used. And in fact, the day the Fuji water happened, we looked it up, and they had turned on CERN that day and were running it. I think it's been running this last year too, so if you've seen more of it, let me know. Anyway, another theory is that it's a giant psyop, a psychological operation by governments, shadow governments, and I don't know why they would, other than maybe to like make you distrust. Like I said, I'm not an expert, this is a fun video. But why I would put stock in that is Fruit of the Loom, because they said they never had the cornucopia. And you can find videos online all over the place of people thrift shopping and finding that cornucopia label. So it was clearly there in this timeline. So that's what gives thought to it could be a psyop. They're deliberately going and lying about certain things to make you think that it's not happening. False memories. It could just be people have false memories. Like, as I said with Fruit of the Loom, there's obviously something going on there, but that could just be the company. Another one to kind of go with the timeline collapse is the Berenstain Bears, which, like I said, that happened personally to me. I saw the cover change. So the only thing I could think is the timeline changing. And actually that brings me to another point about changing timelines, is if we've somehow found a way to time travel and no one knows about it, but it's shifting the timeline, so maybe that's why we're seeing the Mandela Effect. I think that could be a very valid theory. I mean, it could even be into the timeline collapse, like they're changing stuff so these other timelines are collapsing in on themselves. The only backing I have for this is Dolores Cannon's conversations with Nostradamus. If you don't know who Dolores Cannon is, she was a hypnotherapist. She started the quantum healing hypnotherapy where they do like past lives and stuff. Anyway, she had a couple of her patients come in contact with Nostradamus, and he's talked about some of his prophecies from the quatrains, and kind of translated to some of it. But one thing he mentioned is during what he saw as World War III, they messing with time to help change the outcome of the war. I think the Tomorrow War, that one with Tom Cruise, kind of does something with that, where they keep resetting. And Nostradamus mentioned something like that, and he's like, and it's collapsing timelines. It's messing things up. So that's what I think might give some validity to the time travel. Anyway, if you guys want to know more about the Mandela Effect, there's a lot of information, but I would suggest like Theories of the Third Kind and the Y-Files. I love Hecklefish. But they do a really good job covering it. This is just like a little quick fun thing. So let me know what Mandela effects you have experienced, and what theories you think it is. Like, what do you think causes it? Do you think it's just like a psychological misremembering? People are getting older, they're getting slower. We have the internet. So we have the information. Because, like, when you think about it, back in the pre-Google, we just kind of rolled with it. Like, it just went around the schoolyard, telephone style. So, I mean, it's possible there was misinformation, and that's how it happened. Or, timelines are collapsing. Or, maybe it's aliens. I always think it's a possibility it's aliens. Like, they're just out there, a couple teenage aliens, and they're just like, you know what? Let's screw with the humans. And so, I mean, really nothing is off the table. So, whatever theories you think it is, let me know in the comments. You guys have a great day.